Hi everybody, I'm just some guy and here's part 2 of my review of the comic Black. In the first part, I ended by mentioning the lack of character development in this story. This is by far my biggest problem with this book. There is no character development. None. You know nothing about these people. You don't have any information to form any connection with them. But Kwanzaa has the nerve to act like you should care. Like, dude, give me a reason and I will. Saying they be black ain't good enough. Alright, so the book starts off with Ellen Waters, who turns out to be named after Kwanzaa's mother. That's a shame because Waters has no depth and I'm sure his mother did. All we know about the book version of Waters is that she was promoted from an officer to a detective after the shooting of the 3 boys that sets the story off. Okay, we know she's from Bed-Stuy, we know she doesn't let the case go. Other than that, we get nothing. We don't know how long she's been on the force, what motivates her to stay when all the white cops she's encountering are racist. We don't even know why she's so obsessed with the main character, Kareem. And she serves no purpose in this book until the tail end where she's telepathically controlled to record the final fight and reveal to the world that black people have powers. Nothing she does has any impact on the plot. You could take her out and it wouldn't change a thing. And, Jesus. So let's get to Kareem. It takes most of the first book before we even get his first name. We get no background info on him. There's 1 page of a flashback. It's not even a full page. It's half a page of random scenes from his past. His mother dying, him going into foster care. That's it. We don't know how old he is, where he goes to school, if he goes to school, where he lives, who he lives with, nothing. What we know is that Ellen Waters gets an APB for 3 black males in their 20s wearing basketball shorts and t-shirts. That could be anyone, and I'm from Chicago, and I can verify that police do put out vague-ass APBs like that. So Kwanzaa's not making that shit up. Now, Kareem is out with his friends, and the cops pull up on him. They think the boys fit the description of the guys who robbed the restaurant. One of the boys, who's never named, is convinced the cops will kill them, so he bolts and the cops shoot all of them. Now, Kareem wakes up in an ambulance and his first thought is to run. I don't know why. He's been shot. He doesn't know what's happened to him. He doesn't know what's happened to his friends, but his first instinct is to get out of the ambulance. He doesn't even know if he's been hurt. So my question is, why are you getting out of the ambulance? I get that the cops might want you, but paramedics are only going to save your life. So this stupid fool opens the doors and jumps into moving traffic out of a moving ambulance. Just can I say it? May I say it? It's just stupid nigga shit. Who does this? So then he bumps into Jeremiah, who's just been tracking him. This is the Matrix element here. We never have that explained, by the way, how he knows where to find the boy. Okay? And he's tracking him because Kareem is special among the specials. Black people get their powers from quarks, specifically hexaquarks. But later on, we learn that Kareem gets his from dodecaquarks, which grants him the ability to adapt to anything. In other words, he has infinite abilities or a built-in Deus Ex Machina power, so Kwanzaa can have Kareem do whatever he needs him to do in order to push the story forward. Okay, and that's all the character development you get for Kareem. We learn that he's straight because he finds some lady doctor fine, but that's it. Jeremiah introduces Kareem to the project, basically Neo to the Nebuchadnezzar crew and the real world, but what took about 20 minutes in The Matrix is shown in 2 pages in this book. Literally 3 months of training are done in 1 page. During the whole book, we never once see Kareem reflect on anything that's happened to him. He never thinks about his friends. He never even names them. Think about that. These were his friends murdered beside him. He doesn't even mourn for them. I mean, we don't know how close they were. They could have just been people who, smoke weed together. But you'd think he'd think about what happened. Nope, nothing. Never thinks about his old life at all. Never tries to visit anybody. Never asks about anybody. Never even tries to contact anybody. And while he's at the project, he doesn't seem to make any new friends either. So when he decides to run away, nobody's on his side. The whole point of this story is to get people to care about the way that cops and white America treats black people. It's to get people to see our plight. And we're supposed to see it through Kareem. But in order to do that, we need something to latch onto, something to make the experience relatable. And that would be character development. You need to tell us who this person is so we can experience life through his eyes. This is so basic. Even George Lucas at his worst got this right. Okay, we had enough info about Anakin's life as a slave to give a damn. But somehow, Kwanzaa fucks that up. How? How do you fuck that up? It doesn't even take much. What do we know about Neo at the beginning of The Matrix? He's searching for Morpheus, he wants to know what the Matrix is, and he hates his job. That's it. That's enough. 10 minutes of film, more than enough character development. Think about the movie Wanted, or the comic, either one. The intro to the story is about the main character's life. We get that so that when he's pulled into the world within the world, we care. Okay? You can even reveal it piece by piece like in John Wick. You get it as you go through the story. Doesn't happen in Black. And that's because Kwanzaa doesn't give a shit. For all his sock puppet monologuing that happens later in the book about how white people don't respect Black agency, Kwanzaa doesn't respect it either. It's like, you have one job, man. Make me care about your characters. I care more about Joffrey Baratheon than I do about Kareem, and never before have I wanted a child murdered in the most vicious way possible. I hate Joffrey, but at least I know who he is. I know his motivations. We get nothing about Kareem's motivations. Hell, we don't even get to see him experiment with his powers. Think about any superhero comic or film you've ever seen. Could you imagine the character not testing out their powers? Especially a teenager. It's like he hit puberty and found out he could come and decided not to jerk off. And it's not just him. We get nothing of Jeremiah's motivations or past either. We don't even get his full name until the 5th issue. There's only 6 issues in the damn book. He never actually introduces himself to Kareem, so I don't even know how the boy knows his name. We learn about Jeremiah's powers. He can see 3 seconds into the future, and that's it. We don't find out until the 6th and last issue that Overdrive, the leader of the 3rd unnamed Black faction, is his son. We don't know why Jeremiah is so convinced that the world finding out about Black people having powers would lead to, quote, war, to genocide of Black people. We don't know why he hides in the shadows, imprisons superpowered Black folks he thinks are dangerous. We don't know what happened between him and his son. We don't even know how he found out about Kareem. We meet one of these guys he locked up. His name is Cole Tellis. We meet him in issue 2, but we don't get his name until the 3rd issue. Cole's story is that a bunch of racist white New Orleanians want to burn him alive because he tried to burn them alive in their houses. Now, the man company sends this white lady to get him, but the project shows up too and they get away with Cole. But not before he shows off his fire powers. Now, keep those powers in mind for a moment. And he burns a couple of white people alive. Now, I'm going to talk about the scene later on because it's obvious, but let's just stick with Cole for a second, okay? We find out that his brother is an all-state champion who dated some white girl who was later found burned. It's not clear whether she's dead or alive, but Cole has fire powers. He never mentions if his brother, who goes unnamed, has powers. So it's possible Cole murdered the girl, probably because she was white. The white folks find his brother, torture him, castrate him, and burn him alive. Cole decides to take revenge by returning the favor, but he gets stopped by Overdrive. The white folks somehow find out that he was going to burn them but didn't and decide to kill him anyway. Cole is the most developed character in the story and he's barely in it. He does get a code name, Cole, because Kwanzaa's anything if not lazy. He also gives Kareem a code name too. Guess it. Come on, just guess. Come on. What would a radical Black dude who supports violence by any means necessary name a Black superhero? Yeah, damn right he named the boy X. X. The letter X. At least he didn't call him Muhammad. He does have Overdrive call Kareem on his lack of imagination. And let's talk about Overdrive, because this nigga here, this is Kwanzaa. He wrote himself into the story like all SJWs do. And I can tell because I follow the dude on Twitter and I see what he tweets. The shit that comes out of Overdrive's mouth is the same shit that Kwanzaa tweets, okay? Let me give you a taste of Overdrive's brilliant insights. When Kareem and Overdrive find Man's secret lab where the Man company experiments on Black people, Overdrive says that the experiments are why white people enslave Black people, treat them like cattle, dehumanize them, arrest them, and kill them. It's all to cover up the experiments, right? Then they find a Black girl without powers who dies before they can save her, and Overdrive says this is all we are to them. Chattel. Black bodies without agency or rights to peace and freedom. Humanity abides this evil with purpose, knowingly or unknowingly. Except if people don't know they're doing it, then they're not abiding it, jackass. And in the last issue, he couldn't be more on the BLM soapbox. Everything out of Overdrive's mouth could be in the Black Lives Matter manifesto. This is all the character development we get for Overdrive, whose real name is Caesar, which might be a reference to the Planet of the Apes because the tone of his character is like Caesar's in the original films. No mercy, no quarter. What he does is he sets up Ellen Waters and has one of his men, Mind Grapes, who's an intelligent ape-looking dude, control her to broadcast the final fight worldwide, as you do. I give Kwanzaa credit for doing it. I mean, black people are called monkeys, so fine. He made one a monkey, and he's super smart. You know, if a white person did that, it'd be the most racist thing ever. I think maybe Grant Morrison and Garth Ennis are the only ones who'd even have the balls to do it. So after this broadcast, Overdrive says that he had his troops release, quote, the wrongfully accused, unjustly incarcerated, and righteously angry to, quote, join the resistance. Well, the first two are fine, but the righteously angry? Remember how I said I knew any violence by black people would be justified? There you go. Pissed off, superpowered black people just unleashed because of racism, right? And there's one more character we gotta talk about, and that's Theodore Mann. If I had to pick the laziest, most predictable villain in any story written by black people, it would be a white business mogul whose last name is literally Mann, M-A-N-N, Theodore Mann, the man. His whole shtick is being an evil cracker. That's it. There's nothing else to him. He runs a corporation called the Mann Company. It spends centuries manipulating the world to keep black people oppressed until his company can unlock the secret of black people's powers. They're the cause of all black suffering, from slavery to the failed education system, just to get these powers. They've somehow developed technology, the Higgs system, to block people's powers. They've got mechs, they've got robots, they've got a Higgs field that man uses to fight the black heroes at the end of the story, but never any explanation for why they want these powers, or why they oppress black people when there are other ways to get what they want. Man is evil for the sake of being evil because white people be evil. And he comes complete with lines like this from the end of the book. He says, "You think you've won? That you've escaped? That this is your actual jail? We keep you under total control. We decide where you can walk, what you eat, where you work, what you wear, where you live, what you think, and what other people think of your kind. You can't escape because your existence is your prison." That's just such racist bullshit. But the sad part is, Kwanzaa really thinks this. His Twitter feed backs this up. This whole story boils down to this dude thinking that white people make black life a prison and black people must rise against it. What a fucked up thing to think. And what a waste of a decent premise. Total waste. In the third and mercifully final part, I'll discuss the reasons why I think this premise was wasted and why I think this book sets back black creators and stories about black people.